you like or your family likes. And that's what you want to stock up on. Now, I'm going to show you a variety of things. So there's something for everyone. Another way to do this is look at your recipes, the things that you like to cook. How can you take those ingredients, maybe need to get a shelf-stable form of them, and put them together to where you know you have everything you need for that particular recipe. So today we're going to get started on one of my favorite things to eat. That's potato soup. I love potato soup. Now, I talked about how these little type of containers that you can find in, like restaurant supply stores, you can find them online, which is typically where I get mine. I order them from Amazon, all different kinds and sizes. So I'm gonna do it in this and show you how you can do it. But if you don't have these, you can just put everything in a Ziploc bag. I'm gonna show you both ways on different recipes. Either way will work. For this recipe, and these are all gonna be available, I have the ingredients and how to cook them ready to go, and we're gonna include that in our bag. We're gonna need 3 cups of potato flakes. Now, these are just instant mashed potatoes is what I use for this. This is a 1/2 cup measurer, so I need 6 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, because this is a 1/2 cup. You want about 3 cups of those. Now remember, this is potato soup. And I keep mine, I always decant my potatoes that you buy in the store and put them in an airtight container to store in my pantry. This is actually from my home, and you can see I label them, and then I have things ready to go. Another thing is too, this shows you how much you have. So if you need to get more, you're down to here, it's time to stock up. So I do encourage you to put your things that are in a box in something see-through so you can see what you have and what you don't have. So there's our potatoes. I'm just gonna put this, here's another thing I love to have for stuff like this, is a 2-gallon Ziploc baggie. You can find them anywhere. All right, for there. Now, let's start another little smaller one. Yeah, this'll, now let's just do another big one and put everything in there. I'm looking at the ingredients here. You wanna have some chicken bouillon. Now, if you don't have the bouillon powder, which I strongly encourage you to get, very handy to have, you could just put like 2 cans-ish of chicken stock down in there. But if you have the instant bouillon powder, it's so handy to have, and it's so much less expensive, actually. You're gonna want about 3 tablespoons or so of the chicken bouillon. You can find this where soups are. You can find this where they sell a lot of Mexican food. You'll find this big container of this is like $4 or $5, and it makes a whole lot. It's a lot more economical than stocking up on the cans or the boxes. All right, we're gonna need 1/2 cup of dried onions. Remember, the point of this is shelf stable. Find my 1/2 cup measurer. You can buy this anywhere. I buy it in bulk because I use them a lot. You can make your own homemade onion soup mixes. You can do all kinds of stuff with the dried onions, but they also come in little packages like this, but this is much more economical. All right, we need about 1 tablespoon of onion powder, some salt, about 1 teaspoon or so of salt, just right in our container, about 1/2 teaspoon of pepper or more. If you're like me, you like a lot of pepper. Now here's an ingredient. You might want to keep this one. This is going to be separate. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, now we can just put it all in here. All right, we've got our dried milk. And here's one that if you have it on your shelf, it's a great thing to have. It's a great thing to cook with, to have in your pantry, and that is sour cream powder. I have recently discovered that a lot of the things I love, vinegars, soy sauce, sour cream, butter, all that kind of stuff comes in a powdered form that you can reconstitute that is shelf stable. I promise you, just go online and look for them. They're great to have on hand. This particular one is sour cream. Now, if you don't have the sour cream powder, you can wait to the end and stir in some fresh sour cream. But for a pantry shelf stable meal, you need to have some sour cream powder. We want about 1/4 of a cup. So I can find my measure. Here we go. A 1/4 cup. This will last for years. And it really, really, really is good to have on hand. We've got some sour cream powder. Here's another one. A cheddar cheese powder, a dried cheese. So it's just a great thing to have on hand. Again, you can find all of these things online. This is, you want about a cup because this is a cheesy potato soup. Couldn't be simpler. If you'll spend like one afternoon, get your recipes together, get your ingredients together, you can have dinner ready to go in no time at all in your home. So that's it for ingredients. So what I would do, now, if you don't have these little containers, again, you can just mix all of this in a Ziploc bag. What I would do is put them together in here, label it, put your recipe in there where you can see what it is. The only extra thing you will need when you're cooking this is water. That's it, and you find that on here. To serve it, you just put all of this along with some water in a pot, simmer it. It's ready to go in just a few minutes. You could serve it with some bacon bits if you wanted to, or extra shredded cheddar cheese, whatever you like on your potato soup. So there you go. A wonderful, easy, delicious, ready to go potato soup. Now, let's make, I've got a box over here. And these bags, by the way, are reusable. Just wash them out, reuse them again. We're gonna make a chicken orzo soup. We love chicken orzo soup in my home. So this is a way to have it ready to go in an instant. Again, you can put it in a Ziploc baggie or put it in here. For this recipe, you are going to need 2 cans of chicken. If you have your own home canned chicken, even better. I do have at home some pint-sized jars that I have canned just chicken with nothing in it for recipes like this. If you don't have that, you can buy these cans of chicken in your grocery store. They're very readily available in every grocery store I've ever been in. You can find canned chicken. They're great for recipes. They're great for chicken salads and things like that. Now, we're gonna need to put in some ingredients in here. I just got my recipes right here. We're gonna need some sage, which is right here, because, you know, chicken, think chicken, poultry seasoning, sage. If you don't have sage, you can use some poultry seasoning. Just about 1/4 of a teaspoon. I'm not gonna measure that. It's perfectly fine to just put a little bit in there. It's a stronger herb, so you don't wanna overdo it. You need some salt and some pepper, about a teaspoon of salt, about 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon of pepper, depending on how much you like. We're gonna go back to our chicken bouillon. Remember, this is a very handy little thing to have in your arsenal. We want about 3 tablespoons of this. 1, 2, you don't have to be exact on it, just approximately. We want about 1/2 cup of dried onions and vegetables and things like that. So I'm gonna add in my dried onions. I want about 3 tablespoons or so of my onions. Okay? Now, I don't have the dried celery. You can buy it, you can absolutely buy it. But what I do have are some dehydrated vegetables. This is fine to use in any soup where you need to have, dried celery, dried carrots, dried potato, anything like that. This is fun. Now, this is just a blend of different vegetables. This one has carrots and celery, I think a little bit of tomato, some potatoes, a little bit of seasoning and spice. This is a vegetable soup blend, but it'll be fine in this kind of thing. This is one I did, I bought a bulk bag and I put it in my little bags. Remember we did some of the vacuum sealing? This is one of those. See how well that has held? This has been over a year. You hear that? You might not have, but I did. That means it's still fresh. So once you break that seal, you will need to, use this up within like 6 months or so. We want about half a cup-ish of our dried vegetables. And it's okay if a little bit of that seasoning gets in there. If you have dried carrots and celery, you can just use that. Or if you want to wait when you're cooking and then add in some fresh, that's fine too. All right, we're gonna need some orzo, and I'm just gonna put it right in here. I have a box of orzo here that I'm going to put in half a cup. I'm just putting it right into there because it's all gonna go in the same pot. About half a cup of orzo. Orzo is a pasta. It's not rice, although it is shaped like rice. You could substitute rice if you wanted to. Would be fine. And I'm gonna put a lid on this. And we've got our chicken in here. Now to cook this, all you need to do is open this bag along with your recipe with 4 cups of water in your slow cooker. Let it go 2 to 4 hours on low. Or you can cook it, on your stove top. Add everything along with 4 cups of water. You can drain your chicken or not, that's up to you. You can put that on your soup pot, bring it to a boil, turn it down to a simmer, and simmer it for about 30 minutes, and you've got a wonderful, wonderful meal kit ready to go. Chicken orzo soup. So delicious and so easy. Now here is one of my personal favorite soups. I love it. It's so delicious and could not be easier to make. Again, I'm going to use a 2-gallon baggie, and this is taco soup. Now, for this, you are going to need to put in, well, let's get our little spice blend together. If you don't want to use the containers, get yourself a little Ziploc baggie. You can also vacuum seal any of this if you wanted to go that route for longer storage. We're gonna need about half a cup or so of our dried onions. Okay, it's a little shy, so let's just add in. All right. Some of our dried vegetables. About 1/4 of a cup of this, not as much, so let's do 1/4 of a cup of these. If you have dried green peppers or celery, you can use that, but I don't have that, so I'm just showing you. You can use other things that you do have. We need some cumin, about a teaspoon or so of cumin. It's a strong, earthy spice. I love it. It's so good in Mexican food. Our chili powder, I like to add about up to you, about a teaspoon or so. You don't need to add the chili powder if you don't want to, but I like it in there. And a couple of tablespoons of our beef bouillon. All right, this is our chicken. That's okay. Doesn't matter, chicken or beef, either one will work. Let's just add a little beef in there for good measure. It's fine. Either one. I use a lot of recipes, I will mix beef and chicken bouillon. All right, just kind of put that's your spice mixture and your bouillon. Kind of put that in your Ziploc bag. You try to squeeze out as much air as possible. Sometimes what I like to do is just start at the bottom, roll it up, and then, finish sealing it. See how that kind of creates a little bit of a vacuum. Put that down in your bag. You will need 1 packet of taco seasoning mix, 1 packet of ranch. You will need 1 can of diced tomatoes, 1 can, I like fire roasted for that extra flavor, 1 can of black beans, 1 can of whole kernel corn, 1 can of kidney beans, and 1 can of pinto beans. All right, finally, 1 little can of diced green chilies. Now you might be sitting there saying, why are you putting all of those cans in a bag to set on your shelf when you can just put the cans? Well, we have a meal here. We have an entire meal ready to go. Now, to serve this, you do not have to add your ground beef. I like a little bit of ground beef in mine. If you have the pint size home canned ground beef, just put that right in here with it, or have some in your refrigerator or freezer marked for taco soup. And if you're gonna do it long term, obviously freezer. You can buy the little 1 pound tubes of ground beef. I love those for things like this. That way you can mark it so that it doesn't get used for something else. And a cup of water. Brown your beef, put that in your slow cooker, add the rest of it along with 1 cup water, let it go 2 to 4 hours on low, and you have a delicious soup ready to go for your family. If you want to eat this meatless, don't put the meat in there. Just do it as is. It's still delicious. It is wonderful. You're gonna get that flavor and the richness from your bouillon. So if you wanna make this meatless, you don't have to add the beef to it, and you still have a delicious, delicious soup. Just put all that in your slow cooker and let it go. And when you come home from work, you've got a delicious meal ready to go. This can simmer all day long in a slow cooker. To serve it, I would, if you wanted to serve it with some shredded cheddar cheese or sour cream or tortilla chips, you can, or just eat it on its own. I like it on its own. So there you go, another delicious, easy meal any day of the week. Now let's make one more. We have tomato soup with croutons. Who doesn't love tomato soup? I do. If you fold over the top part of your bag and kind of put your hands down in there, you make like a little platform. They're more likely to stand up. They do make little holders. I have some at home, I just forgot to bring them, that you clip in I've shown them to you before, clip in your bag and it holds it upright till you're done, but I forgot to bring mine. So this is gonna be a tomato soup with croutons. So I love tomato soup. Oh, I love it with a grilled cheese sandwich. It's so good. One of my favorites. So we're gonna put our mixture in our little baggie. Let's just set it in there for convenience sake. Dry onions. This is going to be a staple in this type of cooking. So I encourage you to buy it in bulk. You need a cup of these dried onion flakes. All right. Then we need about 1/4 of a cup of chicken bouillon. Okay. Or beef if you want to. It's up to you. Or vegetable if you have vegetable bouillon. That's fine too. Then you're going to need some dried thyme. Where's my thyme? Here's my thyme leaves. About a teaspoon or so. Just eyeball it. You don't have to measure it out if you don't want to. All right. This is baggie 1. Again, get as much of the air out as you can. All right. Remember a little trick. Roll it up. It really does help you to get the air out. Or you can put a straw down in there and suck out some air. Up to you. In a separate little bag, because you do have to mix this up at the end, a separate little baggie, or you could use one of the little containers. Either one is fine. You will want to have 1/3 of a cup of your dry milk. About 1/3 of a cup. Where's my little measurer? Here we go. 1/3 of a cup of your dry milk. And our sour cream powder, about 1/3 of a cup of this. At the end of the cooking is when you're going to mix this and stir it in. So you do need to keep this part separate, just in a separate little baggie. You can label it if you need to. matter of fact, let's do, in case somebody else is cooking this. So you would want to put dry milk and sour cream so that they don't accidentally, if somebody else is cooking the meal, which is the beauty of this, you can say to someone, pull out that bag and start dinner before I get home, and they've got the instructions right here. So you'll need that. Then to serve it, you will need, my voice is getting very, very dry, a bag of croutons to serve. I go ahead and put them right in there with it so I know I have the ingredients that I need. A couple of cans of tomatoes. Now you can use diced tomatoes, you can use crushed tomatoes. Don't get I don't like the flavored ones. I like just plain. Or if you have your home canned tomatoes, absolutely, like a quart of those would be delicious. And then, now here's an ingredient that I don't use very much at all. However, in recipes like this, you will need shelf-stable ingredients. And this is shelf-stable Parmesan cheese. You don't need all of this, but I'm gonna put it all in there, and then when I finish the recipe, I would just put this in the refrigerator when I open it. You will need about, half a cup or so to serve. Or you can just use fresh if you have it. Here's your recipe. To serve this, you would put everything but the sour cream mixture and the Parmesan cheese together in a bowl with 6 cups of water. Then you would want to either do that on the slow cooker for, like 4 to 5 hours on low, or on your stove for maybe an hour. Then you're going to stir the powdered milk and sour cream together in a bowl. Then mix that into the soup. Stir that in. You're just going to heat that through. Now, if you like a smoother texture, you can take an immersion blender and go down in there to mush up the tomatoes more if you want a smoother texture or not, up to you. And then to serve it, just ladle it in the bowl and add your croutons, and you've got a delicious homemade tomato soup that you're gonna serve with croutons. Here are just some ideas. We've got more, but we're out of time. So here are some ideas for some easy, quick, delicious meals for you to have ready to go at any time. We've got our soups here. We made on our last program, we did our white beans and our chili. We also have our muffin mixes. We have our coconut pancakes. We've got our potato soup. Think about the things that you like to eat, that your family likes to eat. And those are the kinds of ingredients that you want to stock up. These are great things to have so that when you have, a few of a variety on your shelf, when you're meal planning, you can look at what you have. It will reduce your grocery budget because you've already got the ingredients there. Maybe it's a week that your budget's a little lower. You don't have to go hungry. You can shop your shelves for ready-to-go meal kits. A couple of them, you might need to add a little bit of the ground beef. Keep it in the freezer, label it so it doesn't get used for something else, but be prepared. We all need to be prepared. Here's just some ideas for you from my kitchen to yours. Thank you for joining with me. Stay prepped up, stay ready to go, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Manna.
I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.
There's nothing, neither height nor depth, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things past nor present, or things to come, neither nakedness nor peril, or sword or famine. There's nothing now that can separate us from the love of God that we have found in Christ Jesus our Lord.
Because of your faithful monthly gifts to Living Faith TV. The gospel is reaching into prisons and hospitals.
Here's the sower, Michael Guido of Meta, Georgia, with a seed for the garden of your heart.
A mother and father on